Hello gamers, I'm welshieone, and recently I've gotten back into Project Zomboid, the zombie survival game on crack. We've started streaming our misguided attempts at survival over on my Twitch channel, and it's really sparked up a lot of conversation. Project Zomboid was released back on April 2011, and over a decade later it's still being updated, with blacksmithing and cellars being added roughly around the corner, I would say, at the time of this video. During my stream, I've had a number of folks jumping in asking for advice on what they could do to survive, surprising me that over a decade old and the game is still finding a new player base. We've had hundreds of hours sunk into the game, and I can say without a shadow of a doubt, I am probably the worst person to be asking for advice. But with all my failures, I'm sure that there's some lessons to be learned which I will pass on to you now. So I've put together a handful of tips for things that I wish that I knew when I first started playing, and probably reminders of things I should be doing going forward. These tips won't help the veterans out. Well, I mean, maybe it's a good little reminder for the veterans, but these will definitely help those that are just starting. If any of these tips helped you out in any way, please give me a thumbs up. And also for those veterans that are in the chat right now, feel free to put the comments down below of any of your helpful tips. I might do another video and might expand upon it and go into more advanced tips later on, or even additional newbie helpful tips later on. Anyway, feel free to join in on my streams as we are in the early games of Project Zomboid, so you can see what the ground level of Project Zomboid is all about. Now, without any further delay, these are the things that I wish that I knew when I first started playing Project Zomboid. The first tip that I want to give is on spawn location, and a little bit of advice and to put away a bit of a common misconception. These are not maps, but actual spawn locations. Project Zomboid takes part in a large world known as Knox country. It is a large, seamless world, and these 4 areas are spawn locations within this large world. There are other towns and other little settlements in between that you can find that aren't on the spawn locations, and you can travel seamlessly between the 4 areas if you have the means of travel or are just very patient at walking. But between the 4 starting locations, if you're going to pick one for starting, I would say Rosewood would be the perfect starting one. It has a manageable zombie population, most of the tools for survival are being within a stone's throw of each other, and each of the houses are good for hunkering down in a pinch. While I wouldn't recommend it, there is an online map that shows the scale of the world and shows what the world looks like. But the reason I would not look at going into the online map is it will ruin the feeling of discovery. There's nothing that beats that feeling of discovery when you turn down a dirt road and you find a cabin in the middle of nowhere that makes the perfect holdout place, or you find that warehouse that is filled to the brim with the loot that you've been looking for. But if you do wish to spoil it for yourself, link to the online map is below. If anything, it's really just an awe of how great and large the world is. Tip number 2 is turning the aim outline on to any weapon. This is a universally agreed tip that should be on by default. We don't know why it's turned off, but it's a quick and easy change. Turning this on from off to any weapon will highlight the zombie you're attempting to strike. This will let you know that your weapon is within range and which zombie you're attempting to strike. This will reduce the number of whiffs that you do during fights and let you know precisely which zombie you're attempting to strike. By default, this is turned off, and it's led to a number of deaths on my runs when I've missed a swing or I've hit the wrong zombie in a panic. Seriously, I have no idea why it's turned off, but it's an easy fix. Tip number 3, watch television. Do you remember how your parents used to tell you that the television would rot your brain? Well, I'm here to tell you that they're wrong. In the first week of survival, the television could be the difference between you surviving a week to surviving a year. Leveling in Project Zomboid is slow. Reading skill books in other games would level up that skill. In Project Zomboid, reading the skill book only gives you a multiplier in said skill. To level the skill, you need to use it. Except for the television with a TV show, Life and Living. Watching this show will level 1 of 5 potential skills, boosted if you've already read the skill book before the show plays, with the most important skill being carpentry. When you spawn in, locate the nearest television, turn on the TV and tune it into Life and Living, and make sure to turn the volume down as you don't want the television to draw attention to yourself too early on. You don't need to sit down and stare at the television. You can still do other activities while the show plays as long as you're within the vicinity of the television. So you can do some exercise or even take up some reading while it plays, and you'll be leveling that skill up. Here's the schedule for the television with all the broadcasts of Life and Living. Make sure that you don't miss out on them, especially the carpentry shows. Tip number 4, shut the damn blinds. Obvious at first, but still very important. Shutting blinds will stop any zombies from outside spotting you as you shuffle around the house. This can include doors that have windows on them. If there's no blinds on the windows, you can locate sheets and blankets and use them to make makeshift blinds. Once you've found a sheet or a blanket, to right-click on a window or door that doesn't have a set of curtains on them, and you'll see the option to add a sheet. Then when you right-click again, you'll have the option to be able to close it. Now remember, even though the zombies can't see you, they can still hear you, so try not to run around or have the radio or TV on too loud, as they'll still hear the noise and go in to try and investigate. Tip number 5, water. This may come to a shock to some of you, so I'll get you guys to sit down if you're not already sitting down, but humans require water to survive. Well, at the beginning, water will be readily available from sinks and even toilets if you're desperate, but as time passes, eventually services get shut off in Project Zomboid. This being electricity, but most importantly, water. The shutdown of these services is random from anywhere from day 1 to 30 days into your survival. To prepare for water being shut off, any spare containers should be filled with water. As my mum always used to say, an empty bowl is a useless bowl. Cups, trays, pots, pans, bottles, and even bleach bottles can be used as water containers. You'll need to level your carpentry to level 4 to unlock the ability to craft a rain collector. However, getting your carpentry to level 4 is a bit of a task, so you need to be prepared for the inevitability that your carpentry skills not at that level for when the water shuts off. A golden rule I like to use is for every house that I loot, I bring back at least 1 container of water from said house, and it's served me fine so far. Tip number 6, get a watch. This will be one of the easiest things to acquire, as most zombies will be sporting a watch, but is crucial to your survival. There are 2 types of watches available. The classic wristwatch that only tells time, or the digital watch which can have alarms set, tell the time, the weather, and the temperature. This is really critical so that you don't miss any of those excellent episodes of Life is Living, and being able to tell what the weather's going to be. However, be alert that the alarms that are on the watches can be heard by zombies, and some of the watches come with alarms pre-turned on. So when you acquire a watch, make sure you check the bell icon to see if there's been an alarm set, as you don't want it to go off without you knowing and alerting a nearby horde. Tip number 7, stand on a zombie during a fight. When you're fighting zombies, eventually you'll knock a zombie down, but not killing it. If you knock a zombie down and you then stand on it, you'll immobilize the zombie for the remainder of the fight, making it easier to kill. If you're fighting multiple zombies and you stand on one that you've knocked down, you'll effectively remove that zombie from the fight so that you can focus on the other zombies. This will only work on zombies that you've knocked down, and that zombie will not be able to bite you or attack you, so feel free to stand on it and wail away. Tip number 8, important loot. When beginning your adventures in Project Zomboid, you'll be overwhelmed with the amount of loot that you can come across, from anywhere from toys to guns to even musical instruments. However, the following items I believe are the most crucial to your survival. Bags. Mainly looking for a hiking bag. Bags will increase the amount of stuff that you can carry back without being over encumbered. If you can find the hiking bag, you'll be set for the rest of the game. However, a school bag will do in a pinch. The holy trinity of tools. Hammer, saw, and screwdriver. Required for all your carpentry needs. A decent weapon. Most likely when you started the game, the house that you're in will have a pencil at worst and maybe a frying pan at best. Keep an eye out for a decent weapon, my personal choice being the crowbar or a baseball bat. Garbage bags. Every 4 garbage bags essentially is 1 rain collector, so keep an eye out for garbage bags and grab them as you're going through people's houses. Nails and duct tape. Required for all your building and repairing needs. And of course, referencing back to tip number 5, make sure you bring back a container of water, you goddamn savage. Tip number 9, unlock the doors. A bit of a strange one, but let me explain. When encountering a horde of zombies, the best chance of survival is to break line of sight. The easiest way is to dip into a building and shut the door, slipping out through the back. Well, let me set the scene for you. You've just looted a house. Within this house, you found the holy trinity of tools. You've got your saw, your hammer, and your screwdriver. You can't believe your luck. You've even found the carpentry level 2 skill books. You've even found the book on how to use a generator. You're ecstatic and excited. You need to get back home real fast so you can start preparing for the water turning off. In your excitement, you open the front door in a rush and there's a horde of zombies. They spot you, and in a panic, you fail to shut the front door, rushing back in. You get to the back door with the horde of zombies fresh on your tail. You're trying to open the back door. It's locked. You're trying to right-click on unlock the door, and in your panic, you get swarmed and eaten, ending your run. If you'd only taken the 2 seconds to unlock that door while you were safely scavenging it, you would have been home free by now. Every time you're scavenging a place, make sure you check each of the doors to make sure that they're unlocked, as you never know when you need to make a quick escape or when you will be using this house or building later on as an escape route. When you get inside a place, make sure that you right click on each door and check to make sure that the door is unlocked so that you've got a clean escape for future runs. Tip number 10, housekeeping and sorting your loot. A bit of a dull one, but still very important. Sort your shit out. No, I'm not talking about your troubled relationship with your parents, though I think you should call them. It's been a while. You know, they worry. They haven't heard from you since November. It's a little bit worrying. Give them a call, or at least text them. But no, organize the loot in your house so you know what you need to be scavenging for. Keep note of what skill books that you're missing, how much food you've got left, and of course water. But also, make sure you prep yourself a go bag. Throughout your adventures, eventually you'll end up making a couple of mistakes here and there, or get caught out by the helicopter event, where a helicopter will shine a light on you, following you, bringing a whole bunch of zombies to your location. Eventually you'll end up panicking and accidentally bringing the horde to your house, and it will get overrun really quick. So it's good to have a go bag set at your escape location, ready to go at a drop of a hat. In the go bag, I like to have a ready available weapon, a bottle of water, a spare set of the holy trinity of tools, that being your hammer, saw, and screwdriver, some medication, and food for the road. You'll never know when your safe house will not be so safe, and you'll need to make a run for it. Bonus tip, everything is a bandage. Everything is a bandage. Sock, bandage. Shirt, bandage. Everything is a bandage. No, but seriously, most items of clothing can be converted into bandages. Over your adventures, you're going to get scratched, you're going to get cut, and you'll need to keep these wounds bandaged. You can use hot water or bottles of disinfectant to disinfect the bandages, reducing your chances of infection. Make sure that you keep around, I'd say, 4 to 6 bandages on hand so you can readily replace them as they get dirty, and then clean them up when you get the chance, or simply replace them with some other items of clothing. Anyway, that's been my beginner tips for Project Zomboid. Hopefully that will get you another day or another week in Project Zomboid. I've been streaming it live over on my Twitch channel, shameless plug below. We're in the very early games of Project Zomboid, so if you're still learning the ropes, now would be the perfect time to jump in and learn a bit more and ask around. And really, we're just a fun little bunch of nerds over there. Anyway, I've been welshieone. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to comment below with your tips and suggestions for Project Zomboid. If you like what you've seen, feel free to give me a follow. We talk a lot of nerdy ass shit over here, from tabletop gaming to survival games to management games, the whole lot. Anyway, I've been welshieone. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, gamers, you have a great one. You know, if everything is a bandage, I wonder if I could use Pixel Kitty as a bandage. Nah, I'm sure Nana won't like that.